Ho, ho, ho. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Shannon and the Clams. Leaves fall again. You got yourself locked into KRFF 95.9 LPFM, Moorhead, Fargo. RadioFreeFargo.org. Streaming anywhere, whenever. You just clickety-clickety on the old internets, and you'll get to us. Side stage with Trav. Normally 1 to 3. I'm guessing he was out due to Happy Thanksgiving. I don't have the internet. I don't have Facebook or anything, so I don't know if he was in or not. But according to some of the stuff I can see when I'm here, I'm guessing he's not. I don't know how many people will come in after me, but if they do, it'll be Stinky Arts Music Mart right after me. Locals on the 8, Radio Madness, Black Ring Ritual to wrap up your Turkey Day. However, I might be the only one that's so close to the studio. And, I got nobody to hear me. But anyway, I'm here. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. 4 to 5, I get into the studio. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. This Thursday's no different. I'm not going to lie. I ate from like 1 to 2:30. A lot of turkey. It was smoked. It was good. It had that skin that you just like to eat. Had me a corn on the cob. So, I'm a little droggy. I'm a little, I'd IV'd the tryptophan. So I'm guessing you guys probably are too. So unsnap your pants, relax. Get yourself a little soft drink. Maybe a sugar-free water for you health freaks. And at 4:20, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news and we'll talk about it. Then talk about what? Well, talk about cannabis, the benefits of cannabis legalization, the progress we're making in the state of North Dakota, which isn't that much, but we're doing what we can. We did get the results from the Supreme Court in South Dakota's Amendment A, and I'm not going to give you any hints. However, the vote was 4-1, and we'll talk about that at 4:20. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to try to cheat and Google it, but if you do that, then you won't need to listen to what I got to say. And again, since I can't tell if you're listening or not, who cares? This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. You can get their products at Tochi Products or Odds to Ends in West Fargo. Body Butter is, again, is going to, help her retire sooner probably than she needs to. It's a good product. 1,600 milligrams of CBD in each container. It's got comfrey, frankincense, myrrh, alpine hemp, locally grown, colloidal silver. I'm telling you, my toes have never been shinier. And it'll help you too. So go over to Tochi Products, pick some up. And while you're in there, sign the ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition. We also have a ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition at Orange Records. Neither of those places are open today because they're doing what they should be doing, spending time with the families. But tomorrow, things will open up. Get in there, buy some Black Cottage Alchemy products, sign the ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition in Tochi Products. ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition involves 21 plus to possess, 12 plants you can grow, 6 mature, 6 immature, licensed business, and you can smoke where you're allowed to smoke. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. Welcome to this beautiful Thanksgiving Day. I believe this is my 100th show. I have ADD and I hate math. So, it could be 99, it could be 103. But I wanted to do something special, but I don't, I'm not creative enough. And I'm too lazy to get, like Snoop Dogg in here. So it's just me, but it's Thanksgiving. A lot of you are thinking, probably Wilson's probably busy. He ain't got time to come in here on Thanksgiving. No, I do have time. And we are going to talk about cannabis in a positive light because that's what I do. I just want to mention Friday Night Frequency presents a benefit for KRFF. That happens December 17th, 21 plus, 9 p.m., featuring Medicinal. I wonder if they're into cannabis. Charlatan, the Headspace Collective, Abstract Expressions out of Minneapolis, DJ Caleb NLP, Star 4, Vic Tomey, also going to be spinning the wax at the Fishbowl, a.k.a. the Aquarium, a.k.a. above Dempsey's, 226 Broadway, in the heart of downtown Fargo. $3 minimum donation. Come support local radio and local music. Again, Friday Night Frequency presents a benefit for KRFF. That's us, 21 plus, 9 p.m., December 17th, 21. Get your eggnog on, get your groove on. $3 minimum donation featuring Medicinal out of Minneapolis. Also, Charlatan, the Headspace Collective, Abstract Expression supporting him. DJ KMLOP, Star 4, Vic Tomey. Again, at the Fishbowl, a.k.a. the Aquarium. Come support local music, local radio. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me. I'm excited to be up in here. My voice is velvety smooth. I think it might have been the butter on the corn. But whatever. Might even be the chapstick. Beeswax. Organic. Talk about cannabis. Talk about the benefits of cannabis. I'm going to tell you what happened in South Dakota at 420. But anyway, like I say every day or every Thursday, I believe God created cannabis to use for whatever reason we need to see fit. And I give him props at Antioch Church every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Come and join me if you're feeling froggy. Till then, zip up your resin-soaked zipper. And we're going to talk about cannabis in a positive light. Again, usually it's side stage with Trav before me, 1 to 3. I'm guessing he was out doing stuff that people with lives do. And then Stinky Art Music Mart right after me. Locals on the 8, Radio Madness, Black Ring Ritual. And that's on your Thursdays. There's always something going on here, though, at Radio Free Fargo, radiofreefargo.org, KRFF 95.9. I believe we've got ourselves to the first musical break, and I thought, well, it's Thanksgiving. What am I thankful for? Well, I'm thankful for a lot of stuff. First of all, I'm thankful for sobriety, That's pretty cool. And I had somebody, a family actually invite me over to eat Thanksgiving dinner. I've been alone for many years because nobody wanted the guy who would, rip a mirror off their bathroom so he could chop up a line and then come out and pretend like he was hungry. You feel me? And that was just, that's just a bad example. But just imagine a lot of those things tied together and then imprinted in your mind when it came to inviting me over. I thought, well, you know what? Here's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for Jar of Flies. I'm thankful for Alice in Chains. And that's what we're going to focus our music on. Here's I Stay Away. Oh, man, I Stay Away, Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. I'm thankful for that album. 1994. Man, my life changed the first time I heard that album. I'm not going to lie. It was crazy. KRFF 95.9 LPFM, radiofreefargo.org. That's what you're listening to now. The What is Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. You're thinking, well, what's the talk? I just heard the rock. Well, at 420, we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. We're going to talk about cannabis. We're going to talk about South Dakota and South Dakota Supreme Court ruling on Amendment A, which was the adult use recreational cannabis that had came under attack basically after it was voted through 54%. And apparently they thought it violated the single subject rule. It started in an undercourt, which was not the greatest court, but enough of a court to get it to the greatest court. Supreme Court ruled on it yesterday or the day before, 4-1. And I know anybody who's been listening to this show has been listening to me talk about when is it going to happen. Well, it's happened, and we're going to talk about it. And in fact, I may not talk about anything else once we get to 420 because there's a lot to unravel. So stick with me, and we're going to do that for sure. This segment of programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM is being underwritten by Rough Cut Social. They are Fargo's ultimate entertainment destination for axe throwing. Nothing dangerous about throwing axes and drinking beer at all, folks. Enjoy fun with family and friends, a stellar team-building excursion, or book your party. Rough Cut comes complete with a full beer, wine, and sauna bar for your perfect time out. They're located at 1100 NP Avenue, Suite 102 in Fargo. Check out roughcutsocial.com for more info. Again, ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition. It's the thing that's being circulated. January 22nd is the deadline. IndieCannabisCaucus.com. You can go there, find out where in your town you can sign. There's also a signature counter that'll tell you where they are. I haven't looked in a while, but it seems like we need people out there hustling. And because the legislative session's coming up in January, I don't know what the temperature with those freaks are going to be. If they were any more forgiving and lenient as they were last year, you might as well just, pack up and move somewhere else. But anyway, cannabis legalization, I believe in it. I believe cannabis has so many uses that we just shouldn't be messing around. And the biggest one for me is the vets. The vets say it helps with night terror. And we tell them, hey, if you're going to use it, we're going to kick you out of the VA system. So what kind of thanks are we giving them? So the sooner we get it legalized, the better. And you can do your part in the state of North Dakota by signing the ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition, at least at Orange Records or Tochi Products. So I'm going to jump right back into the music. Here's another jar of flies, Rotten Apple, Alice in Chains, KRFF. 95.9, Moorhead Fargo, radiofreefargo.org, Rotten Apple, Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies, 1994. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. All right. Well, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4:20. Open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's happening as we speak here in the best independent radio station in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Put ice in your cylinder. Settle into a chair that's comfortable. And I'm going to tell you about South Dakota. Maybe get an extra cylinder.
Yo, it's Wilson from Canna-Talk ND. You know, the super awesome show you're getting ready to listen to. I think you should go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll wait. Okay, enjoy the show.
We're going to shut her down early because we let the old rotten apple go a little longer than it normally does. But again, thanks for joining me. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Turkey Day, and I'm in the studio doing what I do, and that's promoting cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, sharing the news throughout the world regarding cannabis, and this Thursday's no different. Thanks for joining me. I see Larry showed up again. He put a shirt on good. Again, Larry's the smartest guy in the group here. He brings a lawn chair. Nobody else does. Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act, that's petition happening in North Dakota. It's being circulated everywhere in the state. IndyCannabisCaucus.com. You can find out where. If you're in town here, Tochi Products, Orange Records. There's other places too. Smokey's House of Pipes. Look it up. If you got extra time, you know, again, this would be an easy way in the holidays to fill up a packet or two when you're out there hanging with your friends, doing whatever you friends do. You know, you got your family, you got your Aunt Martha hopped up on cooking sherry. Slip the petition up under a drunk old hand. You know what I mean? But anyway, okay, so I don't even know how to set this up. I got a lot of information on South Dakota. I've got other stuff. You know, apparently the Taliban wants to start selling cannabis. We'll try to talk about that. Michigan had to recall over $200 million worth of cannabis products, already in the hands of people. So that's a crazy story. We'll try to get into that. But we got to talk about South Dakota, and I don't know how to break it to you, so I'll just tell you. It got overturned. 4-1, the stupid Supreme Court cats decided that it violated the single subject rule. Now, just let me tell you something about the single subject rule. The people voted for the single subject rule. Because by and large, the single subject rule in South Dakota, the thing they used to overturn what the voters voted in, which just, you know, I'm going to try to stay like monotone here because it does fire me up because there's so much to be angry about. From like stinking Kristi using taxpayers' money to actually fight this fight. You know, your tax dollars overturned your own vote. I mean, come on. I mean, if that doesn't just de-strengthen the idea that a citizen has power within the citizen initiatives, with voter initiatives, you know, and it's been just the people we voted in have been doing their very best to squash the power that the people should have if they want something done. And they've made it so hard that, I mean, you see it here in North Dakota. They're like, I don't want to get more signatures. I've already done it 3 times. You know, I don't want to put all this effort in for no money. I've already done it 3 times. And I feel like the legislators know that, so they just keep working you. They keep going, no, it's got to be this. No, now it's got to be that. Finally, they're like, we don't care, you win. And that shouldn't be the people. That shouldn't be how it happens. So I've got this South Dakota for Better Cannabis Laws. I've got 3 of these guys on a Zoom call. And it's 11 minutes long, and it does answer a lot of stuff. I'm not sure how loud or if you can hear it or whatever, so we're going to try to get into it. And if it doesn't work, then we'll shut it off. But I thought it was some good points here, and we'll check it out and see how it goes. But I'll keep talking till they talk. Because, again, it's a Zoom call, and I don't know how this will work. It's probably going to be some dead air. So
South Dakota, Bill Stalker, how you all doing? You may or may not heard today the Supreme Court overturned Amendment A. To say that I'm disappointed and 225,000 people are disappointed is an understatement. Here's the thing, and this is what I believe. You learn nothing from prosperity. You learn from adversity. What is our medal? What is our medal? We need to keep going on our signature drive. We need to pressure our representatives in the state government to get something passed on recreational marijuana. We need to forge ahead. We cannot stop. We cannot stop. Thank you. Melissa.
Hello. This is Melissa Matley with New Approach South Dakota. So today we did get that ruling on Amendment A, and it was pretty shocking to see that being overturned. as the person who has led the fight for medical in the state of South Dakota for the past 7 years, I do know we spoke pretty clearly at the ballot back in November. 70% of South Dakotans supported medical marijuana, along with 54% of them supporting adult use. They knew what the difference was. And I think it's really important that we don't convolute that issue and state that them not knowing was a reason to overturn it. We spent a lot of time working on marijuana in the state of South Dakota. And one thing we're really good at is showing our mettle and pivoting. We're going to pivot into legislative session and finishing our...
Okay, they didn't let me. I got to log in, and I don't have a Facebook account. So whatever. We'll just keep pushing through. But anyway, and I was hoping to hear Matthew because they voted 4-1. They voted 4-1, and it just, again, let's talk about the single subject rule. Single subject rule, they voted in 2018. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, so here's a response from the Pennington County Sheriff's Office from the stinking two cops that County Sheriff Kevin Thome and there was one other guy, and but Sheriff Thome basically spearheaded it under Kristi Noem's wishes, and the tax dollars were from the taxpayers. So here's what he said. He goes, he's pleased by the decision of the South Dakota Supreme Court on the legal challenge to Amendment A. Today, the court agreed with Sheriff Thome and South Dakota citizens. See, and here's what's interesting. He includes South Dakota citizens, right? The ones that voted, right? He agrees with them and South Dakota citizens, because here's what they're going to do. They're going to lump this in, who overwhelmingly voted 62% to pass Amendment Z in 2018 to protect our state constitution. Now, let me tell you this. Amendment Z, single subject rule, is a good rule. You don't want to vote for a rule that says you have to wear seatbelts, but you also agree to no more shampoo bottles in hotel rooms. You're like, what? I mean, I agree with the seatbelt law or subject, but this shampoo bottle subject, what do you got this second subject in here? You know, we voted for increasing taxes for city highways, but not so we could import koalas from China. Feel me? That would be another subject. Well, the people of South Dakota didn't want that. They didn't want it muddied up. They wanted to vote for one thing at a time per, whatever, initiative. So it was the very people that voted for Amendment A voted for this Amendment Z because of the literalness of the amendment. But what's happened is the government has weaponized this. They've used it against the very people who voted that in. The citizens that voted in the single subject rule has now been punished for voting it in. And here's the thing. There was 3 sentences in Amendment A. 3 sentences. Okay? And it had nothing to do with inclusion. It didn't include hemp, medical, and recreational. And so they used it for their own good and then said, today the court agreed with South Dakota citizens. No, you didn't agree with South Dakota citizens because 54% of that 62% wanted single subject protection. And Amendment A didn't include that. But the government made it that way. They weaponized the very amendment that you guys in South Dakota voted in. So it's just downright heartbreaking. Today's ruling from our Supreme Court upholds the protections that were sought in the previous passing of Amendment Z. See, again, it's like basically smacking a dog in the face with his steak and saying, well, what, you don't like steak? I mean, it infuriates me that they did this. It is critically important to defend our state constitution, and I appreciate the High Court clarifying these issues. I'm pleased the court sided with me in upholding the will of the voters. So the plaintiff's argument focused on the unconstitutional drafting and proposal of this issue as a constitutional amendment. First, and again, they hate constitutional amendments. So does North Dakota. So first they cite this clause: the proposed amendment may amend one or more articles and related subject matter in other articles as necessary to accomplish the objectives of the amendment. However, no proposed amendment may embrace more than one subject. And you can read it, and it doesn't. And if I can find it here for you, we can show you. So anyway, the chairman of South Dakota Democratic Party also issued a statement. We are disappointed by the outcome of South Dakota Supreme Court's ruling on Amendment A. South Dakota made their choice clear when they voted for Amendment A, and we look forward to working on additional avenues to legalize, regulate, and tax cannabis and uphold the will of the law, or the people. State Rep. Stephen, who's challenging Noem for the Republican nomination for governor, issued a statement too. The legislature is keenly aware of the public's concern that the people's voices must be heard and respected. An official response was also issued on behalf of Department of Health Secretary. I'm proud of the Department of Health for delivering a safe and responsible medical cannabis program as approved by the voters in 26. Amendment A does not impact or affect the program, which is on schedule and meeting all statutory timelines. The Secretary of the South Dakota Department of Tribal Relations said tribal medical cannabis programs will not be impacted. So, I mean, it's good. It's good. But, I mean, man. So, anyway, South Dakota, for you guys just tuning in, South Dakota Supreme Court rules 4-1 the Constitutional Amendment A broke the single subject rule and therefore was invalid. And the single subject rule, keep in mind, was voted in under Amendment Z by the people. The very people that voted in Amendment A also voted for the single subject rule. They like it. It was a good rule. The people wanted the single subject rule. I like the single subject rule, but I don't like what the government in South Dakota used with their amendment. It wasn't their amendment. The legislation didn't push that. The people did, because they didn't like legislators stacking measures. They put one thing in that was good, and then they tax your donkeys and horses, and all of a sudden your cat has to pay some sort of fee. You're like, well, what? I thought we were just voting for, humane chicken processes at Chick-fil-A. And now all of a sudden I can't bring shampoo on the plane? Well, you voted for it. Remember that measure? And they have manipulated your measure, your Amendment Z, to get you, to screw you. They screwed you. They used your Amendment Z to screw you out of Amendment A. And it's downright ridiculous. So again, South Dakota, shame on you. And we're gonna keep looking at it here. So anyway, let's see. They'll have to wait longer for recreational cannabis to become legal. Wednesday, the state Supreme Court ruled against Amendment A, like I said. So some people said I was overturning the will of the voters. I feel the opposite was the case. I was upholding the will of the voters in our Constitution because in 2018, in Amendment Z, South Dakota said we want one subject, one topic. And that's exactly what this lawsuit was about. But again, it was ridiculous. So the Matthew Schweck, campaign director of South Dakota for Better Cannabis Laws, all it said was by a future date, the legislature should pass laws on medical. Okay, so here's what he said it said. By a future date, the legislature should pass laws on medical cannabis and hemp. The rest of the initiative was all about recreational. And we think it's disrespectful for this ruling to essentially say that voters can't understand an initiative. We think they can, and they did. Sheriff Thom wants the state to get its medical cannabis program underway before taking on recreational. But these guys weren't even for that anyway, Schweck also says, I've heard from a lot of people over the past several months that have expressed a belief that their votes don't count and that the system is totally broken. I've heard people say, I'm not voting again, Schweck said. And I think that's one of the costs of this litigation and the delay in issuing a ruling. It has undermined the public's faith in their system of the government. And that's exactly what is happening here. It's basically sore loser syndrome. When the government doesn't like and doesn't want to do or to follow through with whatever the people do, they come up with a way to say, it's not our fault. We had to do it. You shouldn't have voted Amendment Z in. You guys voted the single subject rule in. What are you mad at us for implementing it? Knowing full well that's not what the people meant by single subject. And it was basically directed at the stupid regulators and government officials that come up with these stacked measures that hide stuff in them. They hide stuff. All of a sudden you read down there, P.S., free Escalades to every Secretary General. What? That's what they were talking about, not this. So it really is a stinking shame. And I'll keep you posted as we get further along here. But again, South Dakota, 4-1, Supreme Court rejected Amendment A. So no recreational cannabis. Now, South Dakota for Better Cannabis Laws is still pushing. They have until May to get the signatures to get it on the ballot. So we pray that'll get through. And legislators have something in the works, but you know that's going to be bunk. You know, it's not going to include anything cool. And it's going to be overregulated like they do. So before I punch a hole in the wall, let's talk about this crazy thing. Michigan lab, this is from CBS News out of Michigan here. Michigan lab behind $229 million of cannabis recall sues Cannabis Regulatory Agency. Now let's talk about this. The company at the center of what is considered Michigan's largest ever cannabis recall filed a lawsuit Monday against the state's marijuana regulatory agency. The recall issued last week impacts more than 400 sales locations. That's 400 places of business, not 400 chings throughout Michigan, and represents an estimated $229 million in cannabis product. Wrap your stupid brain around that, people who's listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on KRFF 95.9. The MRA has disregarded industry experts, widely accepted scientific practices, caused disruption to its reckless and arbitrary decision-making, and ultimately put the patients and consumers it's charged with protecting at risk. So let's see what they did, huh? Last week, the MMRA, let's just call them the MRA, issued a recall for all cannabis products besides inhaled cannabis concentrate assessed by testing facilities Veritas Laboratories and Veritas North between August 10th and November 16th. The agency said it noticed inaccurate and or unreliable results of items tested by the facilities and advised those with potentially harmful products to properly dispose them or retest them. Can you imagine? Some guy's like, he's like just ripping his concentrates, right, from this Veritas laboratory. He's looking at it, it's harvested by whatever. He's looking, it's like, oh man, this stuff is great. He's just blowing smoke at the cat. No, he's not. I'm just kidding. And he's reading his email. And bloop, the email pops up from Veritas Laboratory. Say, our records show you bought some super strong, highly concentrated concentrates. And boy, oh boy, we hope you're not doing any right now because it's full of cancer. Right? He blows it out. He's like, what? What am I reading? You know what I'm saying? Just imagine you're rubbing topical lotion on your ankle and your phone pings. You're like, oh, I got an email. Well, I got one hand that isn't covered in lotion. Why don't I check? Oh, yeah, hey, say, this is your buddy from Veritas Labs. We sure hope you're not rubbing your leg up with that lotion because it's covered in, parasitic feces. What? So anyway, the complaint alleges that the regulatory agency unlawfully shut down the facilities and issued the recall despite experts saying it was unwarranted to do so. Let's see. Attorneys have asked the court to provide relief to Veritas and bring accountability and oversight to an agency that has far exceeded its authority. The state regulatory agency said it is investigating the recall incident. At the time of the recall, said it was fully cooperating. Now, so what did they do? So the MRA has disregarded industry experts, widely practiced, caused disruption to its reckless decision-making. So there was nothing wrong with it? The agency said it noticed, so there was nothing wrong with it. So called the recent recall unjustified, prejudice, and retaliatory, said the recall has no public health or safety risk justifying it. Crying out loud. So $229 million in cannabis products was asked to be recalled because the Marijuana Regulatory Agency issued one. The agency said it noticed inaccurate and unreliable results of items tested by the facility and asked those to be proper. So I don't know if they had to give them a refund or what they had to do, but that's just crazy to me. So let me read you here quick what Governor Kristi Noem, bless her stinking heart, said about Amendment A. South Dakota is a place where the rule of law and our Constitution matter. And that's what today's decision on Amendment A is about. We do things right, and how we do things matters. Just as much as what we are doing, we are still governed by the rule of law. She also tweeted, which I don't think anybody I just don't think any governors, especially ones called Kristi Noem, should be saying the word tweet, much less tweeting. But again, I don't tweet or Twitter. Sometimes I twatter. Today's decision does not affect my administration's implementation of the medical cannabis program voters approved in 2020. That program was launched earlier this month. However, you can't really get anything, and the first cards have already gone out to eligible individuals. However, you can only go to Yankton, which again, Flandreau tribe, Yankton, go get you some. You can go get your card and you can get your product all in the same time. So, and there's probably a cat who will sell you a night and a teepee for $20. I'm just guessing on that last part. But the justices determined that the provisions of Amendment A embrace three separate and distinct subjects, and they just didn't. They just really didn't. So, it just... Anyway, it's upsetting, and I'll stop talking about it. But South Dakota Supreme Court, they voted 4-1. And again, why did they take so long? I don't know. But it just seems like the people want cannabis, and the few people that we put in there in charge to implement our wishes just suck. So anyway, let's talk about this, should we? And we'll wrap up another Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday here on KRFF, Radio Free Fargo. I welcome everybody listening, and then we'll play this minus the music. Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. Check it out. Probably Sunday. Canna-Talk ND on Instagram. I will post when that show will come up. Again, thanks for listening to me talk about cannabis legalization and the benefits of it. I'm going to talk about cannabis moment here. Taliban announces deal to grow cannabis in Afghanistan amid questions over companies' involvement. And these are also the cats that I heard were rolling up on like tweakers or whatever and forcing them into rehab, or they were whacking them. Now, who knows if that's true, right? But it sounds a little something like what, the Taliban would do. If they'd rape women, I feel like they'd shoot a crackhead. The Taliban regime in Afghanistan announced on Tuesday that it had contracted a company called Sea Farm to grow and manufacture cannabis products. This is funny. But an Australian firm of that name later denied it. They're like, homie, say what? Taliban? Our company? No, I ain't having it. It is involved with the project after being mentioned in local media reports. Taliban officials later clarified that they're working with a separate German company, which, side note, Germans are looking to utilize some cannabis reform. Social media posts from the Afghan Minister of Interior Affairs said that a company called Sea Farm agreed to make an investment worth more than $400 million to set up a cannabis production factory in the country. The project, he said, will officially launch soon, and hundreds of people will get job opportunities, the ministry said in a tweet. And apparently they were going to invest in setting up a hashish processing company in Afghanistan. And back in the day, and it was interesting because I never knew that there was cannabis in those countries. But I've since then, came across what was called AFPAC, which was a cross of Afghani and Pakistani weed. Cannabis, I mean. And I've watched a couple documentaries, and it's crazy. Afghanistan, poppies, opium, hash, and the Taliban. What could go wrong? Okay, this is from the Ministry of Interior Affairs, Afghanistan. Medicines and creams would be manufactured by the hashish processing factory. Like, that don't sound like a great idea, does it? Hash in your creams? The project will be officially launched soon, and hundreds of people will get job opportunities on the project. But after regional media organizations reported that the Australian company Sea Farm was involved, that firm later said it had no idea what the Taliban's talking about. We have become aware overnight of numerous media articles stating that the Sea Farm in Australia has been involved in a deal with the Taliban to be involved in the supply of cannabis in a cream. They said, we do not, and those words are capitalized, manufacture or supply anything. We provide a medical advice service to the pharmaceutical industry within the Australian underbelly. We have no products on the ARTG. We have no connection with the cannabis or the Taliban. We have no idea where the Taliban media releases come from and want to assure everyone that it should not be connected to Sea Farm Australia. Quarry Saeed Kosti, a spokesperson for the Taliban, which seized power from the Afghan government this summer following the U.S. military withdrawal, tweeted on Thursday to clarify that the deal was instead with a German company called Sea Farm. So earlier in the week, Kosti had provided details in a Twitter thread about the cannabis deal. Yesterday, officials from the Ministry of Interior's Counter-Narcotics Department met with a representative of the company Sea Farm. The company wants to build a cannabis processing plant in Afghanistan, which will create all cannabis products. You know, and I want to say, oh, well, good for Afghanistan, except it's kind of, you know, they're kind of terrorists. They promote terror. They're hateful people. They hate Christians. Do I wish them medicine that'll benefit the terrorist? I don't know. Should I just be cool with it all? I don't know, but that's an interesting news story I thought you guys would be interested in. The deal, if it were to play out, might seem unusual, given the regime's harsh treatment toward people who use illicit drugs. Shortly after the Taliban took control of Afghanistan, the AP reported on clandestine raids where drug consumers were threatened with violence if they did not agree to enter into treatment. Could you imagine, watching Intervention on A&E? If, the Aunt Mabel came at you with a semi-automatic rifle, stuck it in your ribs and said, "Today's the day you stop huffing paint, Pete." Okay, Grandma. All right. Man, it's like the Taliban in here. Exactly. Well, anyway, I've been happy to bring you this Thanksgiving edition. I think it might be my 100th show. This hour of programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM Radio Free Fargo is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Luthery. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, and Paul Reed Smith guitars and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment, they take trade-ins, and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Luthery on Facebook or visit them at their location at 1450 25th Street, South in Fargo. Again, thanks for joining me. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4 to 5. 4:20, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Right in front of me is Side Stage with Trav, 1 to 3. Right after me, Stinky Arts Music Mart. Locals on the 8, Radio Free Madness. And here is your last I'm Thankful for Jar of Flies. Alice in Chains. Sure was glad. What a great album. Here's Swing on This. Alice in Chains. KRFF. Clap, clap, clap. Swing on This. Alice in Chains. Jar of Flies, 1994. You heard 3 songs from Jar of Flies. One of those albums. It's Thanksgiving. It feels like an album you would play on Thanksgiving. It never gets really old for me. I didn't play, the one song, Don't Follow, because, again, it's kind of a funeral song, and I didn't really want to, bum you guys out too much. KNDS. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday here at Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9. Thanks for joining me. Normally, and I don't know, because again, I don't have any social media, so he may show up, but Stinky Arts Music Mart is right after me. Locals on the 8, Radio Free Madness, Black Ring Ritual, and right before me is Side Stage with Trav every Thursday, 1 through 3. Then you got me talking about cannabis, and I'm going to keep doing it. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy has the body butter that just really should be bought. And if you need to do it and you can't go online, come downtown, go to Tochi Products. They got it in there for you. They also have the ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition you can sign. Orange Records also does and may have a bracelet laying around. Get in there and support cannabis legalization and help us get it on the ballot. Again, thanks for joining me, y'all. It's Thanksgiving, so relax. Just chill till the next episode, right? And again, I'll be here next Thursday like I always am. And again, I want to say I'm thankful for sobriety. I'm thankful for a healthy lifestyle. And like I said last week, I went from buying meth from a guy named Jesus to playing Jesus at the Christmas play at Antioch Church, December 18th. It'll be on Facebook, Antioch Church, if you want to watch me. And I'm going to be a hip Jesus because I'm going to still have my 2021 glasses on because I can't see to read the scroll, you know what I mean? So anyway, thanks for listening to me talk about cannabis. And for those of you listening from South Dakota or were connected or emotionally connected with South Dakota, my apologies. And I'm sorry you got the kind of people that would override the people. And I never did talk about how Kristi Noem still hasn't said how much money of your taxpayer dollars in South Dakota she used to defeat the measure you guys voted in. It makes me doesn't that fire you up? Your money was used to defeat your will. That don't seem crazy? I mean, I can't wrap my brain around it. But cannabis is good. Cannabis benefits everybody. And if you were an idiot before you found cannabis, you're going to be an idiot afterwards. Cannabis ain't going to make you any more stupid. And if you've got no motivation and you can't seem to get out of your mom's basement, cannabis isn't the reason. It's because you're a piece of crap and you're stinking in your mom's basement. Get your life together, right? It has nothing to do with cannabis. I mean, I know people making some cool stuff, using their brains a whole lot. And cannabis just accents that. Some people that just have mental issues, medical conditions that allows them to get to work. So anyway, educate yourself so you can educate others on the benefits of cannabis, especially this holiday season when you got them around. And I'm going to get out this beast. You guys have been great. I'll see you next Thursday. David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.